Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Urban Classics. Find your style at Urban Classics AU on Instagram or check out the website www.urbanclassics.com.au where you'll find a great range of streetwear, including the NASA label, which is quite popular at the moment. When you check out, make sure you use the code CHAD30 in capital letters for 30% off. Let's get into the episode.
What a great kick.
Robin Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine Holmes. Cronulla's in again.
Wow.
Chad Townsend, brilliant.
Yes, hello guys. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Talk of the Town podcast for 2020. Today's guest is a teammate of mine, probably one of the hardest workers I've seen in the professional environment, and that is Jack Williams. Buzz, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
No, good to have you, mate. I appreciate you coming on. We're just coming in towards the end of preseason now. How's the preseason been for yourself?
It's been really good, actually. We've had obviously a bit of a change in the staff this year. A few boys coming back at different times of the year, but I feel like there's something different about this year, which excites me. And I know that you guys who I've spoken to, being out at coffee and everything agree. And, I think there's just like something that we didn't have that was missing last year that's there. The way that we're training, the intensity, there's combinations that are building there that I feel like this year is going to be something different. Yeah,
definitely. And I'll jump on the back of that for sure. I definitely feel like this preseason, like compared to the last 5 years, has a totally different feel to it. Obviously, we've changed a number of our high performance staff, assistant coaches. It feels like a different setup, dealing with a different environment, doesn't it?
100%, man. It's crazy. Just like one thing leads to another, and we're here with different staff and everything. But we moved on, and I'm so keen for it. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. What I guess for many of us, like preseason, it's the hardest time of the year, but also like one of the funnest times as well. Yeah. Like, what do you enjoy most about preseason?
I love training, so coming in, it's not a hard thing for me to get motivated, and I love being around all the boys in the change rooms, especially the addition of Woodsy in the last couple of years. It's just lifted the way that the change rooms are.
Yep.
There's always something good going on, but back to the training, it's like I just love training hard. I love trying to push yourself and improve on where you've been before. So This year I've changed a few things from last year that I addressed, and I feel a lot better than where I was this time last year. So that's the main thing, and the training's going really well.
And what do you least like about preseason?
The worst thing's probably the combination of deadlifts and long running. So my back's just cooked.
Yeah. So for people out there, we obviously split our preseason training into a number of different blocks, and like in terms of like speed, agility, fitness, conditioning, upper body weights, leg weights. And Tuesdays, man, like you don't like Tuesdays, hey?
Tuesday, Friday, they're the days you dread.
So Tuesdays is on the field, conditioning all day. Sometimes consists of, running, time trial running. Basically, you have to test yourself to an absolute extreme, lunch, and then go into leg weights in the afternoon. And like you said, deadlifts on leg day. And then after that afternoon, like you dead set go home and I lay on the couch.
Yeah, you go on. It sets your afternoon up just to lay back, watch TV, even have a sleep.
Yeah, 100%. All right, well, mate, for people that don't know, like, where'd you grow up? Like, where'd you play junior footy? Where's home for you?
So, Cooma. So, it's a small town south of New South Wales. It's got about 8,000 people. So, I'm roughly an hour and a half from Canberra, about just over an hour from the snow, and again, another hour from the coast. It's like the south coast. So it's quite central in that area. As I said, it's a small town. So grew up down there, started playing footy when I was about 5. I was coached by my old man when I was in the under 6s through to, I can't remember what age it was when it stopped, but I had him as a coach. Played with all my mates. So we went to school together, played together, and that's where it sort of, again, just, you go and play with your mates, and it's the best time.
And I guess what age did you think to yourself, you know, I could potentially, or I want to play rugby league?
I'm not too sure. You know, my dad obviously played.
Did you make junior rep teams as a youngster, or were you just one of those kids who just played and then?
Not really. Yeah. So it came to a point in time where I was actually playing rugby union because that's where most of my mates from school were playing. So
Yep.
I think it was about under 10s. Made the switch from league to union. Played about 4 years, and then I made a Brumbies team. So it was
cool.
I was playing in the ACT, travelling up there, and that's where I came across a few like close mates who I played a lot of football with. I ended up playing for the Tuggeranong Vikings after this comp had finished, and a few of them were trialling for Canberra Raiders, and I was like, okay, you know, I might do it. There's a good chance for me to keep playing with these guys.
Yep.
So we went over there. You know, with the Harold Matts trial, there's like over 100 kids. So I didn't get to play with those boys. I was playing against them actually in the trial, but ended up making the team alongside one of my mates who I was playing with, Kuma, who was Tom Cronin, and we got to travel from back home all the way up to Canberra. You know, a couple of times a week, which our parents did.
Yep.
Took it in turns as a rotation, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're definitely grateful for that. So we played Harold Matts together. Went into SG Ball and the 20s together, and then that's when I made the move up here. But, you know, I didn't really think of anything about it when I was doing it. It was just, you know, I wanted to play with the boys who I enjoyed playing football with.
Yeah, yep.
And
I love that. I reckon, like, that's for the same as me. Like, you play footy as a youngster because of your mates, you enjoy it, it's fun. But then you like you said, you play some junior reps at the Raiders, play your 20s at the Raiders, and then you make the move to Cronulla. Yeah. So talk me through this decision. Like, why did you sign with the Sharks?
Well, I got a little bit of a story about it. Like, I played 3 years of 20s. So as soon as I finished SG Ball, went to 20s.
Yep.
This is the first time I'd started playing back row. So I went from the centres into back row. I actually made my debut in the 20s as a back row, and I'd never played it before. Ended up playing that for the next year as well. Then back row centre towards 20s year. I didn't have a good year my last 20s year, so
yep.
I did a pre-season under Ricky Stewart, so I did six weeks there in Canberra, which is probably still some of the hardest training I've done. Like we were running so much, but it was probably the best I felt going, like transitioning from that young training group to a senior group.
Yep.
So I put on a lot of weight, a lot of strength. I learned a lot of good things too, but I didn't quite find the style I played when I was playing in the 20s in that last year. So I was up and down, you know, my head wasn't fully into the game. I was doing a carpentry apprenticeship at the time, so which I loved. Like I was working with a great group of guys. They looked after me and everything, gave me the time off work to go and play, obviously. But yeah, so I was up and down, and you know I wasn't having a good year, and I didn't get re-signed. So I think I got offered like a train and trial, and it was like, you do pre-season again with Canberra, see how you go. If not, you go to the Mounties. So I was there speaking with my manager, didn't want to do that. So I thought to myself, I hadn't actually told anyone at the time, but I was like, I think I'm just going to brush football to the side and just do my apprenticeship, get it done.
Wow.
You know, it's something that I really enjoyed.
Yep.
Then my manager came up and said, let's go to Cronulla, let's visit Flano, Grant Jones, and like all of the guys from the Sharks.
Yep.
And I met Bomber at FX that day, and he was like obviously the opposing 20s coach there. So went up there, finally signed for 2 years, and going into the system there, like I was in a bit of awe because you guys had won the premiership that year.
Yep.
You went on a crazy run. You know, I didn't really know what to expect because I hadn't moved away from you know, a small country town.
Yeah, moving to the city.
Yeah. So that sort of was a big step as well because Canberra's it's not quite a city, but it's more of a spread out, open, big town if you probably describe it like that. But coming up here, I didn't know what to expect. Like you guys, obviously just won the premiership. You're so close. Like you guys are so close when I came up here. And I don't know. It didn't really work out for me too much at the first year. It was pretty quiet.
I'll jump in here because I remember when you came to the club, and we talk about it quite often. We laugh about it, and I remember like one of your first sessions, and quite this quiet kid comes in, like a little pretty built, and just sort of. And I agree, it definitely took you a while to sort of come out of your shell and find your place, and it is quite hard, I guess, when you change clubs because people, you have people are tight with everyone, have their own groups, everyone's bouncing off personal jokes within each other, and when you're fresh and new, and especially someone who's coming from the country. Like it did take you maybe 1 or 2 seasons, even probably to learn fully about the culture at the Sharks, because it definitely would have been different at the Raiders. Right. Am I right?
I mean, 100%. And I mean, just looking around the playing group too, like I had guys who I grew up watching as a kid, like watching State of Origin that was the biggest thing for me when I was growing up was State of Origin. I remember like there was always something big happening. That's what we spoke about at school all the time. Like everyone idolised the Blues, so. To have like Gal, Louis, like Prizza was there, even yourself, like Ricky Latelli, like Val was up and coming, like Birdie, all those guys. I was walking around training like, what is this? Like, I can't believe this. These are the guys I watched when I was younger. Yep. Now I'm training with them. Like, didn't really feel too real. So, I struggled a little bit.
Well, I guess the next phase after having like a few years in the system and playing, for the feed side, learning about the Cronulla culture, you make your NRL debut, and it's against the Raiders. Yeah. So talk me through how this happened.
Well, for starters, that year, so I had that first year, which was sort of a nothing year for me, and I really wanted to make a difference. So that preseason, Jimmy Dimmick had just come along from the Bulldogs, and we were doing a recovery session down at the beach, and he actually came up to me, and I was sort of floating through, the outside backs, the back row, and he said to me, "Why don't you step into the middle of the field, like try your luck in there? You've got good leg speed, you're strong. Why don't you jump in the middle?" So that's when I made my first transition into the middle, and that was my first year of playing. I guess lock.
Yep.
So I played for Newtown for the first 6 or 7 games and everything.
That was a game changer decision for you.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
I mean, it's crazy. Like I probably wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for Jimmy coming up to me and being so honest with me and telling me to move. So onto the debut. It's just it was a bit of a weird week. We didn't.
When did you find out that you were playing? What day? Do you remember?
It was on Tuesday when the team list got named.
Yeah, right.
So I was at home getting all these texts and everything, and I'm like, I haven't been told anything. Like this is just probably, I don't know, they're playing mind games or something, the coaches and all that. So we came into training the next day, and Flano came up to me and he's like, "Have you seen the team list?" I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Sweet." And just walked off. I'm like, is this for real? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So I jumped in there, did everything. When we went down to Canberra, then he pulls me aside, and we're staying in Canberra at the hotel in there, and he pulled me aside, had a good chat with me and everything, and it made me feel a lot better. I was like, okay, that's sweet. I feel like I deserve it. And then, we had a few big names out that game, so it was a pretty young team.
That is a pretty big Flano thing to do. He keeps things close to his chest, doesn't he? But we'll go on into the game. We did have a few guys out.
Yep.
You gave guys like yourself an opportunity. You came in. Can you remember the game? Was it fast? And you scored a try and debut. Talk me through that as well.
Yeah, well, I got. I wasn't even nervous. It was really weird. So I was nervous the whole week leading up to it. Wasn't nervous when I got to the game, and Gal presented my jersey to me. Me and Braids were obviously on the bench together. It was Braids' club debut, my NRL debut. So the game, it was a pretty fast game. I remember I got put in on the 20th minute. That was Flano's doing. He told me straight away, you're going to be on there first sub. So I think I got about 65 minutes out in that game.
Massive.
Which was cool. Oh, not even 60. It might have been just under 50, sorry. I think I just came off for full time.
Yep.
And, man, I loved it. Val getting that breakaway. Yeah. He set up my try, he batted it back, and I was just there in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah.
I had, friends and family all here, like my schoolmates. I had my mum, my dad, my grandparents, my brother, boys who I played in my 20s team were all still in Canberra, so they came. My partner's parents were all there, so they even supported me too.
That gives me tingles, man. Having your family, friends, everyone you grew up with, and playing against the Raiders.
Yeah. So that was pretty weird too, because that it wasn't too long ago where I was training with those guys.
Yeah.
But there weren't too many guys who I'd actually played my juniors with playing.
Yep.
Nick Kotrick was one. He was the only one, I think, at the time. But those other guys were guys who I looked up to with when I was in the junior system, They're the guys you look up to because they're playing in the same club. So it was cool. It was a really good experience.
So after your debut, am I right? You played 3 games that first year? Or was it more?
Yeah, so I was in my fourth game.
Fourth game,
yep.
and then you tear your pec.
Yeah.
So talk me through how this happened.
So I think I was at marker. Chased out. Matt Lodge had the ball, and I just cut him, and it was nothing. It was a sort of a nothing tackle. I just reached out.
Yep.
And then my pec hit his boot, like the heel of his boot. I think just slid down and hit it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I just thought it was a cork. So I got up. I was at marker again, and lucky it was fifth tackle, and I got back, and it didn't feel right. I could feel blood pumping through my chest and everything. I'm like, what's going on here? So Andrew Gray walks over, and he's a bit concerned, and he got me to do a test, and he just he tried to take me off straight away, and I was trying to be the man, and I tried to run off and get into the kick chase, and it was like when I tried to take off, I was like, nah. So I went straight off, but I was shattered, man. Like, went into the back room of the dock, and they were pretty certain that it was a tear, and we weren't really sure how bad it was, but. I was at home. My dad had come up for the game with his partner, and I was sitting at home. I was pretty gutted.
Yeah, I mean, like, for someone who has worked so hard to get to where they are, you're in your fourth game of NRL. Think finally I've made it. Finally I'm in the team. I'm playing week in, week out. Then to do a pec injury, and for people out there, like, pec injury is like a pretty serious injury. Like, you need to have pretty big surgery, and then there's quite a long rehab process about it. So, I mean, how was your mindset after the injury, and then also going into your rehab?
Yeah, well, obviously I was shattered, so it was my first major injury that I've had. So I've never had surgery before, so I was pretty frightened about that too. So, I had my surgery, and for people who don't really know me, I don't like being stuck indoors too much. So
can't sit still.
Yeah, man, I struggled pretty hard, especially then. And I was inside. I had my mum cooking me food, my partner. They were really good to me, and when it was time for them to go back to work, which I think was about 3 or 4 days after I got out of my surgery and was back home, I was just frustrated. So that was when I just decided to go to the gym straight away. So I wasn't allowed to go into training, so I got pretty strict instructions off Andrew Gray. He was like, "Mate, look after yourself. You need to really let this heal." So I'm like, okay. It got to a point where I'm like, stuff this. So I took about an hour to dress myself. It was so hard to put like a hoodie on over the torn pec and everything. So, I went straight to the gym. I went to Body Fit, and I did like a mad leg session straight away. So I remember I was on these just like 3 pin-loaded machines for like 2 hours. And I was driving a manual car too, so it was like I was trying to hold the steering wheel, and it was shambles. But I mean, my mindset straight away was like, I need to earn my spot back into this team. Like, I want them to see how hard I'm going to work, and I'm going to do everything I can to get back. Like, even if that's coming back early. And Dan Lawson and Sammy Madden, who were our physios at the time, gave me the 12-week sort of timeline. Like, that's how long it's going to take for you to heal before you can pretty much do contact or lift to a certain percentage of what you can lift.
Yep.
So it was just a matter of me doing everything I could at the time so I could come back into the team, because, as you said, I felt like I earned my spot in that team at the time.
Definitely.
So I just wanted to come back, and I wanted to play. And you guys were going into the finals, and there was like opportunity for me to come back. So I was training so hard. I remember it was like a maybe a little short 6-week preseason where I just busted myself.
Yeah.
And, it came down to that. I can't remember who you were playing against, but it was at Allianz Stadium. And I remember saying to Lawson, to the guys, like, I'm ready. Like, if someone goes down, put me in. But, everyone was all sweet. And I was happy with that decision that they didn't play me.
Yep.
But, I missed a lot of football, and, it hurt me a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess for me, like, looking as a teammate, like, I remember seeing you train like an absolute animal in the gym during your rehab. And I remember having those conversations towards the semi-finals. you saying that, you think you'll be right. If someone like, I'm ready to go, I want to play. And I knew that the physios were pretty keen to hold you back and sort of give you, especially after the season, give you that extra time to really make it 100%. But as I mentioned off the top of the podcast, I know that you love your training, and you probably want to, and I don't want to pump you up too much, but like you are one of the most professional guys I've seen at training, and it's a testament to your hard work.
Thank you.
But you do hold some of our strength records at the club, so I know a few people are interested in this, but we for people out there, we don't do 1RM strength for whatever reason from our coaches, but what we do is we do deadlift, we squat. We don't do box squats. We do full squats as well. We do bench press, bench pull. So, what is your strength like, and why are you so, I guess, into that sort of phase of your training?
It wasn't something that came too easy. When I was playing in my juniors, we were never the biggest team, so. I really wanted to try and make a difference, especially with my frame. Like I had a solid frame. Like I was probably the same height when I was about 16.
Yep.
But I weighed about 70 kilos, so I really wanted to get into the gym back home and train. So I started when I was at school. Really tried to focus on eating as much as I could at that time to put on weight. And then just it was a bit of a snowball effect. I really enjoyed it. Even now, like it's something that I use to. I can sort of use it as like a meditation. Like I feel like I go in there, everything shuts off.
Like an outlet.
Yeah, I've got the blinkers on.
Yep.
And it's something that I really like. It's like, I get to push myself. And, you're in there by yourself.
I love that. So I guess for people out there, like what are some of the numbers if you've got them on the top of your head? Like, deadlift 3 reps. You got your PB on the top of your head?
So I did 255 kilos for 3. When we were training, that was last year.
So that's not 1 rep, that's 3 reps, 255.
Yeah, so we do 3s at training, and that was because of Gal, but like
because there's a rivalry, or there was a rivalry there, wasn't there, between you two?
Yeah, Gal was just telling me to chuck weight on every time, and I'm trying to look after myself. Gal's going, mate.
Yeah, and I know you squat as well. You got a squat number on top of your head for 3 reps.
I'm not too sure. I think I did like 220 for 3.
Yeah.
This was out of training, but this was like before. This was when I actually had my pec tear and I started barbell squatting again, because that's all I did. I just squatted. So
yeah, wow, that's strong, man.
So that's
And I've seen your face doing it too. You look like you're not even trying.
That's the goal.
But where did you get? Obviously, like I said, your work ethic is second to none. Where do you think you got this from?
Not really too sure. I mean, my parents are quite driven in the way they work. They, they've both worked, numerous jobs to let me and my brother do our thing.
Yep. Love that. So
I think that I've sort of taken a leaf out of their book. But it's just the motivation. I want to be better.
Yep.
I'm not happy with, I am happy with where I am, but I'm not content with it. I want to be better. Every time I train.
Yep.
And that's my goal. Like, be better than you were yesterday, pretty much.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. All right, I'll move on to, I guess, the next part that sort of ties into sort of your training as well, and that's your nutrition. And I know something that you take really seriously. But talk me through a bit of your nutrition. I know, you're quite heavy on the meal prep and making sure your lunches and are prepped. But do you count calories? Do you talk me through a bit about this?
Yeah, well, the meal prep just started for convenience, to be honest. In a way to save money. I've sort of got to that point in my career where I really want to start trying to invest my money. So meal prepping was probably the best thing. As a football player and what we do, we've got a fair bit of time, so there's always an excuse to go out for team
socially,
fees. Just do it socially.
Yep.
So the meal prep really came, and my partner helps me out so much, man. She cooks like pretty much every Sunday for like hours on end make sure that I have a meal like ready to go.
That's support, hey, that's awesome.
Man, that's so like she deserves she deserves so much. So,
yeah.
So I got into that, and then that brings me on to my nutrition coach who I've got a bit of help from in the last 18 months to 2 years, which is Josh Smith at Fortitude Nutrition Coaching. So when I tore my pec, I actually went to a seminar at a gym in Tarrant Point. So Dave Bark owns a gym, DBPT, Tarrant Point, and I was doing a bit with him as well, just to get out of training. And he said to me, "Why don't you come over? There's a nutrition seminar. It could be good for you, mate. You never know what you can learn. Could be something that will help you with your recovery, performance." Got onto these guys, and I did their seminar. I learned a lot too. Like, me and my partner both went, and it wasn't until probably 6 months later where I reached out to him because I wanted some ideas for meals. And he just said, let's do a bit of work together. Let's see what you can do. So just changed a few habits with what I'm doing. So obviously eating out, the types of meals that I was eating. So some of it probably wasn't the healthiest option. I was just trying to eat just for the sake of it. So I've switched up. I don't calorie count yet, but I probably will start to do it just to sort of keep an eye on like how many carbs and how much protein I'm hitting. But for me, I've noticed a massive increase in how my energy is when I train. How my body's recovering. And it's just like how I feel too. And that's just why, like, I've just done small things by, eliminate a few little, fatty foods, I guess. And I've brought in, like, my only carb source is probably like brown rice, basmati rice, potatoes, and fruit. Like, I eat a lot more fruit, eat a lot more vegetables now. And I'm not all about hitting protein because, like, when I first came up and it was like, if you want to get big, you got to eat protein. Like, that's the thing. So it's just like changing your mindset, and it's more performance based for me. Like, I just want to be able to perform the best. So
feel good.
Yeah. So touching base with him, like with Josh, every now and then, he's always keeping my mind ticking, and he's informing me on like new things that are coming up, and and how I can change and alter my meals to best suit me. And
I guess for people out there, like, you're not on a specific type of diet, are you? You just do your own thing and work and get what works for you, aren't you? Because in 2020, man, there's so much fad diets and things like that, and
game
vegan,
changes.
Vegetarian, game changes, which we're not going to go into, but so
I mean, I'm not any diets. I'm not like for those fad diets. I know a few people have tried them and everything, and I've heard mixed results, but I just think like a well balanced diet is the best diet.
Yeah, awesome. I agree.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone who, I guess, wants to make gains, like in your area? Maybe we'll put on a bit of size, muscle mass. Could you give our listeners any insight? Yeah,
I really believe in just eating well balanced. Like, it's not a matter of taking a different diet approach or anything. I just think it's you got to eat meals that have plants in them. You got to eat your plants. You got to have your good source of carbs, and then your protein, which is your animal protein and everything. I just think if you combine those with training and healthy living, I think that's the best way that you're gonna be able to perform at your best.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's move on to, I guess, some of the stuff you do outside of rugby league. And again, like, a lot of the people who listen to the podcast regularly will know that I'm heavy on having a balance between football and life and interests outside of football, and finding that balance to give you perspective on, what works for you. And I know that you, like we've talked about, love the fitness industry and your training, and you work once a week at Perfect Form Fitness Studio with one of our strength coaches. So talk me through this.
Yep. So Rob and Nadia Leslie, they own Perfect Form Fitness in Bonnet Bay, and Rob was actually with me when I tore my pec. So he was doing a lot of my rehab with me in the gym, and he knew that I'd done my Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness, and I was like continuously talking to him about when he's going to open up this gym. I was pretty keen on the idea. I was really interested in what he had to do. And he finally got this gym, all the space in Bonnet Bay, and he just asked me if I was interested in taking a class on Monday nights. And I was like, you know what, man, I'd love to get out of like Sharks training, because I'm not playing or anything, so I have heaps of time. I've got this injury where I can't do any contact, so to get my mind off it, 100%, I'll go in there. So I do a fit class at 6 p.m. and I do a strength class at 7. So, they're great people out there. It's like it's a family suburb out at Bonnet Bay. So a lot of mums and dads.
Yeah, cool.
And I just love seeing them come in. You notice the change from when they walk in and when they walk out. Like they just put in everything. It's the best. You get to talk to them about life. And it's not all about football. So I really do like it.
And do you feel that doing that outside of rugby league has sort of brought you more balance, where you're not footy?
Yeah.
You know, it gives you that perspective where, again, you probably have an outlet where you probably don't think about footy, but when it's time to sort of work and train your clients, that's time to do that.
Yeah.
And then that allows you to, once it's time back to footy, you're all in on footy.
100%. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go back to the football. And I guess in 2019, it was your breakout season. I'm pretty sure you nearly played every single game. What changed for you in 2019?
Well, I mean, I just addressed like my 2018 season where I got injured. And, I fixed up my nutrition, my strength. Obviously, I got to work on a lot of strength when I tore my pec. So my lower body mechanics were way better. I was more mobile. I got a bit of a head start from everyone. So I didn't even go on a holiday that year because I didn't feel like I earned it. So I pretty much trained the whole off season in preparation for this preseason that was coming up in 2019. So when I got my opportunity to get on the paddock and that, I really wanted to, plant what I was trying to do. Like I wanted to put my name out there.
Yep.
And Flano was the coach at the time, and my goal was I really want to get his attention.
Yeah.
I want to let him know that I want back in the team.
Yeah, that's mad.
It was Gal. I think he had not announced that it was his last year, so I was like, I want to be the one knocking down that door for the following year, or even if something happens. So
yep.
It wasn't too many changes made, but it was just getting on top of my nutrition, mobility, strength, recovery. They're just massive.
I feel like throughout your life, the evolution of all the decisions, all the changes, all the sacrifices you've made have sort of got you to that point in 2019, which has allowed you to play some of your best footy of your whole entire career. And I've got you and Braden especially, like you two coming off the bench. I know you guys are good mates, but you two were forming a combination of just bashing blokes, putting each other over for tries, and having fun too, wasn't it? It was plenty of fun.
That's what we wanted to do. We used to talk about it every game. Like we wanted to make a difference.
Yeah.
There was, as I said, there was so much experience in the team, but it's going to have to be a time where someone's going to have to take over, and we were like, we want to be the ones to change the momentum, like whether it be like game by game, and like playing with Braids. Like we're two different players, but man, it's just so good. We sort of know each other the way we play.
Yeah.
So like to be able to play with him, and we used to try and get on at the same time. Used to try and like talk to the coaches on the side, make sure we're subbing on the same time. Like it was just that sort of thing. But
I love that. I love it. And I see you guys work on combinations of training, and then especially like I remember that try Braden scored against the Storm, which was for pass off you, and I've seen you guys practice that. Session after session after session, and then when Braid scored that try, and the smile on his face and that feeling, like that to me is probably one of the best feelings you can get in rugby league, isn't it?
Yeah, that was cool, man. Like, I mean, it comes with everything. You work so hard at something, and then when it pays off, there's no better feeling. Yeah. Like, I didn't really do too much at that time, but I pretty much just gave him the ball. I don't think I held up anyone, but he ran over about 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll jump into, I guess, 2020. And as you said, Gal, who's now retired, moved on, obviously, after his tremendous career, will probably go down as the greatest Sharks player of all time. But there's a vacancy in that number 13 jersey. And you, like you said, you've had your eyes on that, haven't you, for quite a while?
Yeah. I mean, it probably hasn't been for too long because 2018 was my first year playing in the middle, so I never really thought about it too much. But last year when the announcement came, and I was sort of started to play a fair bit of football, it's coming on. I was probably changing over with Gal, so I feel like I've got a bit of experience from that year. But now that he's gone, I'm going to take the things I've learned off him, and I really want to try and not take over his spot because like they're massive shoes to fill. Like you said, he's done so much for the game. He's probably going to come down as the greatest Sharks player ever. And I just want to try and make it my own if I get that opportunity. So I'm not I wasn't happy with 2019, to be honest. Like the way we came out in that Manly game in the finals, like that still burns a hole in me. So
100%.
Fixing up things like that. If I can get an opportunity and play 13, I'm gonna make sure that it's different to 2019. And
back on Gal, from watching Gal and being, I guess, around Gal in our professional environment, like what have you taken or what learnt from watching Gal?
He's the ultimate professional. Like you can just see being at training, why he's played for so long. Like, you know, he's always in the ice bath. He's always getting treatment, massages. Like, he does little extra work in the gym that gets his body right. Like, not so much lifting all the time.
Yeah.
But just like little corrective movements.
Like neck work.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He was the only one I've ever seen doing network.
100%.
I actually started doing it in the off season, and that's actually hard stuff, man. What he's doing is like, that's next level. But he's just the ultimate professional, and he simplifies his game too. Like, I remember him coming up to me a few times and saying, like, mate, just run hard and tackle hard, and that's what I got from it. It still runs through my head too. When we're in the depths of a game, and your head's off. That's the only thing I try and think about. Like, just run as hard as you can, and just make your tackles.
I love that. And I guess, you touched on 2019 quickly before and how we ended. Obviously, we were disappointed with how we ended. But, do you have goals for 2020? I know you said you wanted to be better than 2019, but is there anything that sort of comes to mind in terms of when you think about the 2020 season?
Yeah, well, I actually wrote a few down at the end of the year before we had a little team trip away. And actually, they're around here somewhere. So I think I said I wanted that number 13 jersey. So I wanted to start.
Yep.
I wanted to play big minutes. I wanted to be fitter and healthier.
Yep.
I wanted to become not so much a leader of the team, but I wanted to be a leader at a lower level. Like, I wanted to try and lead in my own way.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I just wanted to play consistent. So I wanted to play as many games as I can.
Yep.
Like, I missed out on one game last year, so I want to be able to try and play every
massive.
game I can.
That's awesome. I love that. Moving, I guess, a little bit outside of footy now, like, do you what hobbies do you have outside of footy? What do you do in your spare time?
Man, I do a bit of training a fair bit.
Yeah.
Not so much leg weights or anything, because we do so much at training. But I go to the other Jack Williams' place with Daniel Vasquez. Braid shows up sometimes when he wants to.
Yeah.
Got a little crew there. We call ourselves the Apex crew. So
Armageddon as well.
A bit of Armageddon.
These boys,
Wednesday
right?
and Saturday.
They go on Wednesdays, and all they do is arms, triceps and biceps. Every Wednesday, just triceps and biceps, mate. So who started that? Like, talk me.
Jack Willie. Well, you've seen how much size he's put on, man. Like,
mate.
He's huge. We call him the triangle, man. He's like, but he's got an unreal setup. So it's pretty much just going there. We don't do heap of weights. Like, I mean, we do, but it's pretty much just having a laugh. Like,
yeah.
He's got a pool there. We just have a laugh. We there might be some UFC on or something. Go watch that, especially at his place. He's got a really good setup. Go watch that. Other than that, it's pretty much just, going and hanging out with those boys.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Yep.
Watch it. At the moment, I've been watching Vikings.
Yeah.
I've been reading. So
yeah, awesome.
Obviously the book you got me into.
Yeah, which I'll touch on a bit later on.
Yeah.
But I guess so I want to ask you this random question. But after football, what would a dream job for you be? Like, obviously, I know that you love fitness. But what's a dream job for you?
Oh, so I've tried to think about this, to be honest, and I haven't got like a clear answer for you. But I really do want to do something that is in the fitness industry, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, I want to own my own gym.
Yep. I could see you doing that.
Yeah, like whether it's just for my own use or for other people, and plus my partner does. She's doing exercise physiology, so it's obviously a more advanced career than what I'd be looking at. But there's potential for us to link up and do something there. But I'm not too sure. I'm actually not sure. I just it's something to do with being fit, active, and promoting that.
Yeah, I love that. All right, a bit of a sort of funny question here, but give me your 3 greatest wrestlers of all time.
This isn't hard.
This isn't hard.
This is not hard.
I love that. At training, we always talk about wrestling. The boys, I'm surprised that Jack's not wearing, actually, she's wearing a polo Ralph Lauren shirt at the moment, but usually he's wearing a big Austin 316 shirt. And for those 90 kids out there, like, that we're all about wrestling. So give me your top 3.
So number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
100%.
Austin 316, baby.
100%.
The Rock. So it was a battle out between those two. Like, they're the best. Like,
Stone Cold's always number 1 for me.
Does anyone amp up the crowd better than those two?
Nah, no chance.
And my 3rd one, bit controversial, but Goldberg. Love Goldberg, man. Oh,
Big Papa Pump.
Oh, Big Papa Pump was good. There's so many, but like that era, I think it was like from like the late 90s
Yep.
to like before 2010.
Yeah.
Like SmackDown, Raw.
Yeah.
Was the best.
So you said, you watch Vikings. What TV shows are you into? What else do you watch?
And I was big on Power. It's just ended. Bit of maths every now and then. But anything on Netflix, I like documentaries.
Yeah. And one thing that you got onto me was on Amazon Prime was All or Nothing.
Yeah.
How good's that?
It's next level, man. Like just to see how those American sport franchises work. Like, it's on another level.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's move into a bit of fun now. Now, I'm going to say a word or a phrase, and I've played this with a few of the boys, Woodsy, J-Moz, the like. And once I say the word or phrase, you give me a one-word answer on your thoughts. All right?
Okay.
First one off the bat, wingers.
Myths. Nah.
Oh,
It's hard to say one word because I'd like to say that, but man, we've got some big wingers, man. And the wingers in the games, you can't even say they're a myth. They do so much work, eh?
Yeah, it's funny because I like asking our middle forwards what they think about wingers because I know Woodsy just calls them absolute
Sprays them.
burgers.
Oh yeah,
but
and they cop it when they come in the middle of training too. The big fella.
Yeah, it's funny. All right, next one, front rowers.
The best. Workhorses.
Rugby league.
Best.
Money.
Say work.
Paul Gallen.
The GOAT.
Coffee.
Oh, that's life.
Woodsy.
Big legend.
Stone Cold.
I don't even know how to describe it. Electrifying.
Undertaker.
And I was scared, so scared. I was scared of him when he used to come out back in the day.
Dead man walking.
Yeah.
NFL fantasy.
That's frustrating. That is so frustrating, man. I remember some days I'd wake up, watch a few games, and then I'd scroll down and update my fantasy, and my head would be off before I even got to training. I'd be like, "Are you serious?"
It legit can ruin your Monday, can't it?
I had Christian McCaffrey, who dead set carried my team. If I didn't have him, I'd be dead last. Like, Dukes wouldn't have been the worst team; it would have been me.
How good is it, man?
It
Absolutely
was good.
Have you got an NFL team? Well, you kind of just sort of getting into it, aren't you?
Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Who's your favorite player?
Zeke.
Yeah. Nice. All right, next one. NRL coaches.
Head noise.
I think Woodsy said weirdos.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's a tough job.
It's a tough gig, isn't it? Next one, leg day.
I don't even know how to describe it. That'd be the one day that if I could do a gym session before I die, that'd be the day. I do leg day.
I love that. All right. After a win.
It's seriously the best. I don't even know how to describe that feeling either. I'm just going to say pumped.
After a loss.
Oh, man. That's anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Round 1, 2020.
I'm that keen. Just leave it at keen.
Leave it at keen.
Can't wait.
Oh, that's mad. All right. Well, as we regularly do on the Talk of the Town podcast, I put it out on my Instagram story, which allows you guys to ask our guests a question. And thank you, everyone who put out a question. And I've got a few here that we'll get through. So
It's a good picture too.
I could get into that picture. If anyone's seen it, Jack had in his hands. That was after the end of season trip in Bali. Great trip, by the way.
It was.
All right, the first one is from Tom Paddy Roo. If you could have 3 people, alive or dead, over for a barbecue and beers, who's coming?
First one I'd have is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Love that.
Love him. He's the man. Probably have Stone Cold because, Attitude Era. I'd love to know what he's like. He's the one who's going to bring the beers.
100%.
Broken Skull IPA.
He's bringing the beers for sure.
Last one. I'm going to have I think Kevin Hart, just to lighten the mood a bit. We got some serious guys. We got Big Arnie.
Yeah.
We got
Legit, that would be a mad barbecue.
Yeah.
Those 3.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, but there's so many combinations you could do.
Yeah, I love that. Next one is from Cooper Barrett 6. How do you physically and mentally get your head around all your commitments?
Man, just preparation.
Yep.
Love it. I think you gotta be prepared in everything you do. So I try and just be on top of everything as best as I can. We're quite lucky with what we do. Everything to do with training is pretty much sorted for us. But I just try and prepare as much as I can, whether that's just getting up earlier, having everything ready, doing it the night before even, and just being on top of everything.
Great answer. Next one is from Jaden Brayley.
Oh, here we go.
What would you rather? Wear only red trackies for a month or athletic hands for a year?
Oh.
So this is kind of a personal question, a personal joke between us, but Josh Dugan wears these tight as red trackies and all the boys just give him a bit of stick about it because it's pretty funny. And then Gal used to wear these shoes called athletic hands where they didn't look too good. They were pretty rank. And
he had them for 10 years.
He had them for 10 years. They were old as. We're like, mate, get some new shoes. So it's a bit of a personal joke. But you have to pick one.
I'm going with Dukes' red trackies for a month. I don't think I could wear the athletic hands for a year.
And Jaden also asked, who was the Bali MVP?
Oh, man. We've had this conversation a fair bit. Now, I actually can't split them. There's been I don't know. My man Jaden Brayley, he had a good crack.
He had a
really good crack. But Matt Pryor,
yeah,
and Josh Morris,
yeah.
Oh, it's actually really hard. Wado he's next level, man. He's next level. But we have to give it to Jamos. Like I saw, Jamos can charge.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, what a trip though. Hey,
yeah.
Great memories. Like we'll look back on that and think, what a time that was.
Even today, like at training, we just like
laugh about it. Look at the photos.
Oh, the photos are the best.
All right, next question is from Davos101. Who currently in the Sharks squad do you think would make a great coach?
Oh, in the squad at the moment.
That's a pretty good question.
It's pretty tough, actually. In the squad. I'd probably go with you, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I feel like you've got the leadership qualities that a coach needs.
Yep. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You're very professional. Like that's obviously we have good chats as well.
Yeah, always.
About training and how to get better and everything. So
yep.
I'd probably go with you, to be honest.
I appreciate that. Something I'm interested, to be honest. Yeah? I wouldn't rule it out. I definitely would be interested. I'm going to do my course this year.
Yeah, I reckon you should, man.
So we'll see what happens. But next question is from Sam Beale. Do you feel any pressure taking over from Gal this season?
I wouldn't say that I feel pressure. I've spoken to a few people about this if I got the opportunity, and I wouldn't look at it as if I'm trying to take over Gal. I want to make that spot my own.
Yep.
As I said before, like Gal's done so much for the game, and to try and fill in his shoes, that's it's pretty much unreachable. Like he would have already played State of Origin. I think he made his debut at pretty young age. One club man, like that's massive. 350 games or what he got close to. So I don't feel pressure to fill that spot. I feel more pressure to to try and take over his leadership qualities and fill the gap where he's going to leave.
Yep.
When things hit the fan in the game, I want to be able to be the one who's going to step up and
change that momentum.
Yeah, that's right. Like whether it be to simplify it, I'm probably not going to be the one to throw out a message or anything.
Yep.
But I want to lead by my actions.
Actions, beautiful. I love that. Next question, and these two blokes wrote the same question. Pat Bond 24 and ZJ Smith 07. Do you know these guys? They wrote, was Meg a better player than you?
I was actually thinking of those names. I'm like, surely it's not there. So these guys are from back home.
Your boys back home. So do you want to tell the story?
Well, so I played football with my partner Meg. So yes, there's a photo. I might have chucked it up on Instagram.
Man, it's such a good photo.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
So this was either under 6s or 7s. My old man was the coach at the time, and Meg was. We're actually sitting right next to each other in the team photo. So really, she's a year younger, so she's born in January.
Yep.
Where I'm in September, so she played a year up with us. And yeah, man, she was good. She was better than us. I remember there's one of the boys back home. We always talk about this story where we're playing bull rush, and it was me and my other mate were in. So we weren't in. Meg was in. We were at the other end. We had to cross it, and she tackled both of us.
Oh wow!
I don't even know how it happened. I can't even remember, but that happened.
That's mad.
So,
What a
yeah.
story. That's unreal. Next question is from Harry Lindsay, 20. Who has the worst haircut in the team?
The worst cutter.
Cutter. There's been a few bad ones.
There's been a few. I'd have to say Bronce's skunk hair was pretty bad.
Yeah, we had streaks in the back of his hair.
But he saw a picture and got rid of it.
Yeah.
The mullets.
There's been a few
They're
mullets.
pretty filth.
Yeah. Fafita's got a mullet at the moment. Dukes has had a pretty big mullet.
Yeah, I don't know, but I look at Fifter's mullet and I'm like, that's him.
It suits him, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But proper bad, man.
A few hairlines.
That's probably the worst. I'd have to say the hairline. They probably have to. There's a few guys in the
There's
team.
a few guys that are just pretending, hanging on.
I'm not going to mention any names.
We won't mention names.
Few hats being chucked on top of the cover, but
Yes, 100%. All right, next question is from B. Sav. And this is like, you must have done some research for this. You averaged 37 minutes per game in 2019.
Okay.
Last year. Last year.
Yep.
Do you want a bigger role in 2020? Do you see yourself playing more minutes?
yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I've done enough work to play bigger minutes.
Yep.
That was one of my goals too. Like, you know, I want to be more of a presence on the field, so I want to play more minutes.
What minutes do you reckon would be optimal for you? Or you're just going to leave it open and try and play as many as you can?
Yeah, I mean, without being greedy, you know, I want to try and get at least 60 in there.
Yeah.
You know, if it come to more, then I love to play more.
Yep.
But just like being on the field is my main goal. Like I love being on the field playing there. So it's not so much the minutes that I'm looking for. I just want to be on the field.
Yeah, awesome. All right, the last question is from me. And we quite often regularly talk about this, but, you know, what book or what books are you reading at the moment? And, you know, do you enjoy reading? Like, what do you get out of reading?
Yeah, well, I haven't been actually much of a reader. So it wasn't until I was speaking to you and we got in, you actually brought up Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. So I started reading that last week.
Yep.
And I think I'm up to the 3rd or 4th chapter at the moment. So I've made it a thing of mine to read it before bed to improve my sleep, you know, to try and wind down. So
Yep.
I try and read a chapter a night, and I'm really enjoying that book. I think the layout of the book is really good too.
Yeah.
I actually the way that it's laid out. So it shows you the principle. The leadership quality first.
Yep.
Then gives you the principle, and then it applicates it to business. Or a sporting team.
Awesome, hey.
Like, I love that, like how they've done that, because the story that they show, like Jocko and Leif, you know, describing that leadership quality in battle, like it's crazy, man. Like I can actually picture myself. I don't know if it's just watching too many movies or something. But like
you feel like you're in Romani.
I'm just like, what's going on here? Like,
yeah, Afghanistan. Like you feel like you're there.
Yeah, and he's an intense dude, Jocko.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that book.
Yeah, all right, I love that. Well, man, that's it. I appreciate you coming on today. Thanks, heaps, man.
Thanks for having me, Chatty. Love it.
All right, well, that's it, guys. Episode 4 done for 2020. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you subscribe. You can check it out on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and also YouTube. We'll catch you next time.